2 here this week. And there on your right, Azorius Stoneblade for David Thomas, Humans, of course, for Brian, and then Is It Drake's here for Job. Very Job deck. Going to go up against Joshua Myers playing Sneak and Show, Dustin Lockinge playing Mono Green Tron, and then Michael O'Connell playing Mono Red Aggro. Both these teams 3-0. And these players will be given the green light. I think we're going to start on standard with J. Job, who is going to be playing Is It Drake. Start things off with the Steam Vents. For Michael O'Connell, it is a Gitu Lava Runner.
So,
should the Lakers sign Melo? Good question. Gonna go
to like sell hats? Yeah.
Goblin Electromancer's going to die, which is a good thing it did, because that thing can get out of control. Lightning Strike will take care of that and attack there for 1 from Michael O'Connell. Like Torque concessions.
Yeah.
Chart a course. Joe will draw 2 and discard 1. Jonathan Job in this trio has oftentimes been the standard player. When they won their Open earlier this year, he was playing Bat Nexus in standard, as there is an Arclight Phoenix that will go to the graveyard. So you see part of the plan here. Is It Drake's a very, very Jonathan Job-esque deck.
Oh, definitely.
Cards. I'm sure he's got something wacky going on, as there is a Runaway Steamkin and now a Fanatical Firebrand. Runaway Steamkin will get a counter. Here's an attack for 2. Now we'll go back over to John. I'll be getting ready to draw a card here in just a moment. Not sure if he's got some sort of upkeep action. I didn't see him draw a card for the turn. Maybe my eyes deceived me. But
I believe he did not.
Is he maybe opting on the upkeep?
That would, yeah.
Okay. All right. And now draw for turn. Okay, fair enough. Island is a land for the turn. This will be spell 2 here in just a moment. There'll be a Lava Coil to take care of the Steamkin. And now a Shock to take care of the Gitu Lava Runner, which means 3 spells. Arclight Phoenix is back and attacking. It's 17 all. Let's go over to Michael O'Connell. He'll draw a card. It'll be a Mountain. Fanatical Firebrand is going to shoot the Phoenix, and now we'll whirl some chains. That'll take care of the Phoenix entirely, and also deal Job-appointed damage as we head back over to Jonathan, who actually has a copy of the Mirari Conjecture, a very Jonathan Job.
Oh, I'm sure just the one.
It is getting popular as just a one of in this style of deck. Owen Turtwald actually talked about that this week in his article on the premium side of Star City Games about why he's into that card in Is It Drake's, and he actually recommended that deck to players looking for a deck for standard. But yes, just the one. There's the Mirari Conjecture. Chapter 1, return target instant card from your graveyard to your hand. Job taking a look. It is a powerful one when you've got some life to work with.
Yep. And obviously the interaction with the Phoenix is great too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like you have an unlimited well of ways to get the Phoenix back like you do in Modern. So this card lets you gas back up. It's kind of good just on its face, and then the very good interaction with the Phoenix.
Looks like he's going to get back Shock. In with the Chain Whirler. And now Experimental Frenzy. A Mountain. Nothing else. But the Frenzy is here. As the Mirari Conjecture will go up to 2. And Job is going to get to return another card from the graveyard, this time a sorcery.
Yeah, I think he's got Charter Course and Lava Coils to choose between.
Looks like he's going to get back Charter Course. What's coming next here for Mr. Job?
So it's weird. I mean, what Job's game plan from here is a little tricky because it was looking before like, I'm just going to be up a bunch of cards, kill all your stuff, and then the Phoenix is going to be able to win pretty easily. But now, with Experimental Frenzy on the table for O'Connell, I'm less confident in the whole, well, I'll just be able to kill all your stuff. I'll be able to win the card advantage game. So Job might have to speed it up a little bit and try to be a bit more aggressive, I think, than he was planning on being prior to Experimental Frenzy being deployed.
Experimental Frenzy is one of my favorite designs over the past handful of years. I obviously don't design cards, but what do you think of this card? I think it's pretty cool.
I don't like the you can blow it. I blow itself up. I think that if you want to let people sign up for this like high ceiling, little bit of RNG experience that like make them mean it. I don't like the out of just, oh yeah, you just get off the table if you want to.
Okay. Lava Coil is going to take care of the Chain Whirler. Shock is going to go upstairs, which that means that Arclight Phoenix should be coming back.
It's like what's that card where that you can pay 100 mana into it over time and win the game, the enchantment with Shroud.
Yeah, like the Helix Pinnacle or whatever. It's like
hate Shroud on that card. It's just the most like, oh well, it's frustrating when my opponent blows it up sometimes. Yeah. It's like
I remembered it right. Helix Pinnacle, nice.
Yeah. Blow up. Experimental Frenzy can blow itself up is similar to Shroud on this, and not something I have the most appetite for.
Got it.
It's like, yeah, it's okay for cards to be bad sometimes. It's okay
sure.
for your opponent's disenchant to be good sometimes.
Yeah.
Some games, Experimental Frenzy draws you 14 extra cards. It can be okay sometimes that it's not the best for you for it to be in play.
Sure.
But set aside the Destroy clause, I think it's pretty sweet.
Got it. Lightning Strike. That looks like it might be going... Ooh, it's going upstairs. Not going to kill the Phoenix. Okay, what comes next? Okay, so he struck on his upkeep.
Yeah.
Then he drew a card for the turn, in case there's any confusion there. Now there's a Vitiated Pyromancer. Play a land, top card, play a Fanatical Firebrand. So
yeah, like it's okay, I think, for this card to be bad sometimes. Yeah.
Well, that Pyromancer doesn't get to attack.
Yeah, the Pyromancer...
Everything else does, but the Pyromancer doesn't, so we got to unwind that. So we'll make sure that happens. Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure our life totals are correct.
Still gets us 2 from the trigger, but...
Oh, see, that was the other design of the Pyromancer you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
2 mana.
Yeah. He must have heard the broadcast.
Easy, Michael. All right, here we go for Job. He's under some duress. But the Mirari Conjecture has been... It's been completely read, all 3 chapters. Here he comes for 3. Put you down to 9. That is going to make him win the game. There are 2 of those. Because of the Mirari Conjecture. Job set up a nice one. And that'll get the job done. So Jonathan Job's going to win game number 1 here over Michael O'Connell. Is it Drake's up a game over Mono Red?
And I like that Job was able to pivot there, where it would look like he was going to just win a grindy card advantage game. Experimental Frenzy took that off the table, and he was able to pivot his strategy there and finish out the game before getting overwhelmed by all of O'Connell's extra cards.
Let's take a look at the sideboards. Let's start with Michael O'Connell, who's got 3 Direfleet Daredevils, 3 Fiery Cannonades, 3 Fight with Fire, 2 Banefires of his own, 2 Risk Factor, and 2 Treasure Map.
I really like the Direfleet Daredevils in this matchup. I know that Job probably has, he's a blue deck, maybe he has some counter spells, but I'm not really into Banefire all that much. The rest of the sideboard, I could take it or leave it, but I like the Daredevils quite a bit. We're
going to go over to the Job side. He's got 3 Entrancing Melodies. Check out my melody. 3 Niv Mizzet Parun. 3 Sarkin Fireblitz. You see his plans accelerate to a big dragon alone. 2 Shivan Fire, 2 Star of Extinction, a Fiery Cannonade, and a Sorcerer's Spyglass.
I'm really into the Shivan Fires.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of the Entrancing Melody stuff. I actually don't mind Niv Mizzet in this matchup. It's very hard for Mono Red to get off the battlefield, and you do have enough cheap removal maybe to get to that point. But only the Shivan Fire strikes me as an obvious ad.
So you want to check out his melody?
I don't know the song you're referencing.
That's a limp BIZKIC.
Oh, I do now. I do.
There it is. There it is.
And no, I don't.
All right, fine. Fair enough. To each their own. That's going to take care of the sideboards here very quickly. Other matches still appear to be in game number 1. So while those players work on that, we're going to talk about and show you some katana sleeves from Ultimate Guard. Game number 2 about to be underway here between Jonathan Job and Michael O'Connell. Job did win game number 1 there with Is It Drakes over a mono red aggro. Looks like Brian Basoco and Dustin Lockinge are still playing game number 1. It's Humans versus Tron. And then David Thomas with Azorius Stoneblade. A little surprising there since we saw Thomas play Death Shadow when their team won previously. Up against Joshua Myers, who is playing Sneak and Show. These players are going to get ready here for game number 2. If we can jump around to some other matches, we of course will.
I also have blue-white Azorius Stoneblade built. I want to see if Thomas's list and my list, how similar they are.
Get your eyes on it. Get a good look. This is the deck that Matt Sperling helped put on the map, yeah?
My list is, my main deck is basically the same.
Okay.
He has a Spell Snare instead of a 4th Spell Pierce.
Okay.
He has a second Jace where I have a Click.
Okay.
Otherwise the same.
Okay.
Down on the lands. Sideboard 3 Surgical. Love it. 2 Fluster Storms. Got those. All right, so the big deviation here is I have a bunch of paths, and he's only got 1.
Why do you have a bunch of paths?
Because if you have a bunch of paths, Swords to Plowshares, and Snapcasters against Death Shadow, you can never lose. They just run out of... They run out of threats. They don't have enough cards to do anything.
Yeah. You kill their Death Shadows, they can't kill you with Street Wraiths, obviously.
He has a second Council's Judgment. I have 1. 2 disenchants. That's the same. So I have 2 paths to his. I have 3 paths to his 1, and he's got a Grafdigger's Cage, and he's got a Grafdigger's Cage and a second Council's Judgment where I have 3 paths.
Legacy is Azorius Stoneblade aficionado Patrick Sullivan.
So there you go. Lists are the same. 3 Tundra, 3 Island, 1 Plains, 4 Wasteland, 9 Fetches. Yep.
When I asked you what you played in Legacy earlier, what did you say?
Probably Death Shadow.
No, you said just some Delver strategy. You said some.
Well, yeah. One.
Okay, so this counts.
This counts.
Yeah, this counts. All right.
It's a bit bigger than most of the builds.
All right. No, that counts. Okay.
Blue Elemental Blast got 1 of those. Back to Basics got 1 of those. Vendilion Click. That's the second one for me. First for him. Got 1 of those on the board.
Got it.
But yeah, I just want just a ton of paths. These decks cannot. They cannot beat 7 paths.
Some decks just aren't ready for a bunch of paths.
No, they're not ready for it.
As strange as that sounds, it's actually just true. So that's kind of cool.
Not that into the Grafdigger's Cage, because when you want Grafdigger's Cage, you typically want your Surgicals as well, and then it runs interference with your Snapcasters. So the Blue Elemental Blast, I think, is slightly worse on the edges than having a Hydro Blast. But I have a Beta 1, so got to play it.
Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Nah, I mean, be you. Gotta play it, obviously.
Gotta play it.
Have no choice. Firm but fair. As ridiculous as it is. All right, looks like Michael's going to keep. Let's see if Job will. Looks like the answer is yes. All right, here we go. It's a mountain. It's a Gate 2 Lava Runner. Let's go back over to Jonathan Job. That card's a lot worse than Bomac Courier.
Yeah, the one drops did get worse.
Bang. Dead. Lava Runner gets shocked. Mountain there from Michael O'Connell. We head back over to Job. Job will draw. I think that's kind of one of the biggest weaknesses of these red decks now is just fire. I mean, Fanatical Firebrand's fine, I think Gibbs Lava Runner's pretty ugh. I'm just not into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not powerful.
Yeah.
But Experimental Frenzy does provide some weird incentives.
Yeah.
Like, you want to keep going. That's part of it. And also, you also want to curve out every single game because you just want to go 1, 2, 3, and now here's my second and third wave. So you're willing to play with some pretty mopey one-drops once that card's in your deck.
Job there took some damage from a Risk Factor, and now here comes the Fanatical Firebrand. See if Job wants to try to kill this, too. Risk Factor is something that I know a lot of red players that have been pretty passionate about this deck. I know that the Magic Online PTQ that was run actually had, last week, actually no Experimental Frenzies and all Risk Factors. So
Sure.
the needle has kind of moved back and forth in that card. Some players really liked it at the beginning, others did not, but it looks like it's still pretty darn good as Job with his Mountain and 2 Sulfur Falls here, getting ready for his 4th turn of the game as a Chain Whirler did resolve.
Yeah, I'm guessing that Risk Factor is a pretty major upgrade for the Golgari matchup.
Yes,
and
that's
it's
exactly
some,
where you want it.
And it's some costs in most of the other matchups.
Lava Coil will take care of the Chain Whirler. So we're going over to Michael O'Connell. And he's just passing the turn back. So back to Jonathan Job. Job's build of this deck seems to be where a lot of people are trending, by the way. Nowadays we're seeing Goblin Electromancers in the main deck. We're seeing Arclight Phoenix, of course, as there's an attack for 3. We're seeing less Drakes. As you're going to find no Enigma Drakes here, it appears. And then only 3 Crackling Drakes. And then he's moved towards Murmuring Mystic. That human with 5 toughness, very difficult for players to get off the battlefield.
Another example of we talked a little bit about this with Ross having the Rowl in his sideboard, but you look at so many cards that a high impact one of just, it looks like a random one of in a deck list, but you see it a lot.
Yep. Back to Job we go. His Arclight Phoenix got hit by a Lava Coil, so that one's gone for good. But Job's got to like his position in this game because for Michael O'Connell, he's not really doing much of anything.
Yep.
Got an update for you there on the scoreboard real quick. David Thomas does win game number 1 in Legacy over Joshua Myers. So Azorius Stoneblade up a game here over Sneak and Show. Be another mountain there for Michael O'Connell. So it looks like he's flooding out pretty badly as Job will draw a card. Charter Course here from Job. Looks like he's going to discard a copy of Beacon Bolt. That one's got Jumpstart anyway, so not a bad place for that to be. Well, the thing Job is looking for right now, as he sits at a relatively high life total, is just a way to close this one out. However, reissue to Pyromancer is going to come down. It's going to knock Job down to 9.
Job has a lot of cantrips in hand he's looking to not cast. I wonder if he is perhaps on Niv Mizzet this game?
Goblin Electromancer the draw. There is Electromancer. And now Pyromancer down via Beacon Bolt. Michael O'Connell with just one other card in hand now. He's got 2 in hand, had 1 card to end the turn. Makes you wonder if maybe a Banefire is hanging out in hand. He's just trying to work towards that or not. I'll tell you this much, though. It is very important for him to get the Electromancer off the battlefield. And it looks like he's going to do that with Fight with Fire.
I mean, if you just let that card go unchecked, with the amount of 2 mana cycling and cantripping and whatever, they pull really far ahead if they get on top of that card.
Yes, they do. Fanatical Firebrand came down after that Fight with Fire, and Job is down to 8 right now. But Michael O'Connell, no cards in hand, just playing off the top of his deck. Now, of course, this red deck can burn you out.
So as mentioned before, Job's position, very good, very, very favorable, but some pressure on him to try to get it over with as soon as he can.
Looks like Job's going to go to Lava Coil here. He just wants to make sure he doesn't take any extra damage. So using that very powerful move spell on just a lowly 1/1 might not look great, but just wants to make sure that's off the battlefield. Michael O'Connell very quickly playing the land that he drew. I'm a little surprised by that. He is playing a deck that does have risk factor in it.
He also has Experimental Frenzy, so it cuts in both directions.
Yeah. See what the follow-up is here for Job. It's going to be Chart of Course. So he'll draw 2 cards. He'll be discarding 1 here, as he did not attack with anything before casting this. And he'll discard a mountain. A Memorial to Genius is the land that enters the battlefield tapping. Another land there for Michael. Now, again, remember, Michael's got some number of Banefires in the sideboard there, yeah?
2.
Okay. Here's an opt. So that might be what he's playing towards. Job will opt. And now there's a Crackling Drake. Now that's a way to get this game over with if you're John.
There we go.
Took him a little while to get there, but he found a way to do so. We want to know exactly how large that thing is. Again, it counts those instants and spells that are also exiled. So you saw him immediately point to that Beacon Bolt, and that's a 9-power Crackling Drake. That's 2 attacks, folks.
If even. I mean, it's not inconceivable that Joe could close out the game next turn.
Yeah, it could be with an attack plus a Banefire.
Right.
You know, something like that. As O'Connell draws, Chain Whirler, okay.
Well, that gets it into range where a Banefire is now lethal.
Yep.
Assuming that O'Connell brought him in, and assuming he gets another turn.
We'll update you on our Modern match, too, as Job draws a card. Brian Basoco is going to win game up 1 there over Dustin Lockinge. So Humans is up a game here over Mono Green Tron. And Job trying to close this one out. He has a Murmuring Mystic. Now he's got a Lava Coil and a creature coming along with it.
So it's not going to be lethal this turn. Lockinge's going to get 1 draw. Excuse me, O'Connell rather is going to get 1 draw at it.
And Job is just going to look things over here. He says, I'm going to attack you for a big 10. Put you down to 7. We're all tied up. Don't draw Banefire, please. That's all I can think. Draw a card here from Michael. Michael is scanning the graveyard.
Good sign for Job.
And Michael is passing. Actually, he's not passing the back. He wants to see what's going on over here, too. So I'm curious what this would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's Lava Coils to play another turn, or Banefire to win the game, and everything else is not a card. Oh.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Excuse me.
Yep, I forgot about that one, too. So Direfleet Daredevil. He's going to Lava Coil the Crackling Drake. Okay, so we play on. We play on.
I was going to say, what could possibly prompt a tank here? But, yep, Daredevil explains it.
It'll be an opt here from Job and Murmuring Mystic. That Human Wizard, again, 5 toughness. But that thing's going to start to churn out some 1/1 Blue Bird Illusion creature tokens with flying. So this is Job's avenue to victory now as he finishes opting. He's untapping. He'll be drawing in just a moment. And can he get this game over with as he's drawn another copy of Crackling Drake? He's got an attack for 2 in the air. And I like it with the Mystic as well. Follow up. He'll chart a course, also make a token. So he'll just draw 2 cards, don't need to discard. He'll play a land. Looks like it's going to be Crackling Drake. It is. Trigger draw card. And now Michael O'Connell is still in that same situation. He bought himself a turn with that Direfleet Daredevil that allowed him to cast a Lava Coil from Job's graveyard.
Registration for today's 2:30 Modern Challenge. If you would like to play in today's 2:30
Now there's an Electromancer.
Modern Challenge, please make your way.
It all comes down to this draw step, it looks like.
Way over lethal. Yeah.
Yep, that's how big the Drake is. 12 power.
I doubt O'Connell even has a draw here that gets another turn. I guess Chain Whirler no, because that
No, because the Drake.
Yeah.
Is it Banefire is the question. It is not. He's a Gitu Lava Runner. Jonathan Job going to win this game and match for his team. The team of Thomas, Basoco, and Job are up 1, and that means we're going to hop over to Legacy now. We're going to get our eyes on David Thomas against Joshua Meyer. It's the Zoria Stoneblade Sneak and Show. You saw Thomas win game number 1. Well, I guess you didn't see it. Well, we let you know that it did happen. But we're going to get to see game number 2. As these players, they've shuffled, they've sideboarded. You see our table spotters about to give them the green light. So a big win there for Job. Is it Drake's very much his style of play? And it looks like both players in this match are on a mulligan to 6. And away we do go now. It'll be a Pluto Delta there for Joshua Myers. David Thomas with a Zoria Stoneblade here this weekend. He'll play a Flooded Strand. Another Pluto Delta here for Joshua. And I am sitting next to a Sneak and Show Master.
Oh, come on.
How does this matchup go there, champ?
This matchup is better for Sneak and Show than the average Delver deck. If you could sign me up to play against the Zoria Stoneblade every single round of a Legacy tournament, I probably would, rather than a sampling of the field.
With Sneak and Show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like a lock or whatever, but I think it's.
You feel okay.
You feel okay. They just aren't that fast. They don't pressure you the same way that the other Delver decks do.
It'll be a brainstorm. 3 cards coming in for Joshua Myers. 2 cards will be going back. Little Legacy action here for you in Las Vegas. We sample all the formats here in our team-constructed tournaments, and if we have some time, potentially, to jump over to Brian Basoco, we will do that. There's a Lotus Petal. Pass turn back. So we're going to go over to David Thomas now. Does he have a Stoneforge Mystic to play? He's just going to play a Tundra, and it looks like he's just going to pass the turn.
I'm not casting a Stoneforge. You got to keep up appearances. That even assumes that Stoneforge is still in his deck, which it may not be. Stoneforge is neither fast nor disruptive in this matchup, and I think there's a case to be made for cutting, 2 of the Stoneforges in your Jitte, or just all 6 of the cards.
Well, I'll say this. I like Stoneforge on the play. I hate it on the draw.
Yeah, that's fair.
Modern players.
Here's a Ponder.
Once again, players who signed up for the 11:30 Modern Challenge, your next round pairings have been posted. 11:30 Modern, next round pairings have gone up.
It's just a lot to assemble and get everything to go right.
Right. And tapping out on the draw on turn 2 is just, they had to play around so little.
Yeah. Ponder's done resolving. Now for Joshua, it's an Ancient Tomb. Well, looks like it might be show and tell time, and it is. Oh, excuse me. That's that new creature.
It's an Arcane Artisan.
Thank you. That's the newbie. Well, use the battlefield, exile all tokens created with it at the beginning of the next end step, but for 3 mana, it's an 0/3. 2 and a blue, tap it. Target player draws a card and exiles a card from his or her hand. If a creature card is exiled this way, that player creates a token that's a copy of that card.
So I suppose the reasoning here is in matchups where you assume your opponent is all on, like, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, up to fight over spells, and they've cut their creature removal, this card wins the game.
Yeah, you get to pull the Okie Doke.
Yeah.
That's kind of the plan. Didn't work that time, though, because David Thomas had his Swords to Plowshares to take care of it.
That's cool. I've not seen that card out of the sideboard before. Yep. That is cool. Because, yeah, most of the blue decks are just loading up on Flusterstorms and Pierces and blue and red blasts, like whatever. I guess Red Blast still works against that card, but a lot of the other ones don't.
Scalding Tarn the land there for Joshua Myers. Tapping 4 mana, so perhaps it's time to go for a sneak attack. It is. This is a Spell Pierce. David Thomas would like to tap him out to maybe try to resolve another counter spell.
Could be another counter spell. Could also be disenchant.
Very good point. Very good point.
I know all the lines.
Yeah, apparently. Didn't even think about that disenchant line. That's a fun one.
Tap them out. You get
Blow
the
up
pedal.
enchantment.
You get the pedal for your trouble,
Yeah.
for whatever that's worth. Could just be another follow-up soft counter, though.
There's the follow-up soft counter and Spell Pierce. So, sneak attack is handled. We're going to head back over to David Thomas. He's done a nice job of not letting these big effects resolve, or at least when they did, not stay around long enough. It'll be a Stone Forge Mystic now. That's going to search up the very powerful Batter Skull. That'll be David Thomas's turn. We pass back to Joshua Myers. Thomas is hoping that Myers does not have a way to go again. He's going to try to find one, though, here with a Ponder, which will resolve. So Joshua will take a look at the top couple of cards here. And he's not into it, so he's going to shuffle.
Yeah, this suggests to me that that Myers knows it's this is his turn to get something on the battlefield, and after this it gets a lot harder. So any Ponder that doesn't set him up to go right now just gotta get shuffled away.
So mystery card coming here for Joshua Myers after David Thomas takes a moment and shuffles his opponent's deck. Did he find it? Tapping 3 mana right away, taking Tomb from the Tomb. It is a show and tell. David Thomas is going to sacrifice the fetch land very quickly here. That Polluted Delta will be placed in the graveyard. Finding another Tundra is Thomas. And does he have another counterspell? Does he need to brainstorm? He's going to brainstorm and try to find something here to protect himself.
Good sign for Myers.
Yep, got to feel pretty good about that. Two cards will go back. Show and Tell's going to resolve. Both players will put something onto the battlefield here. Let's see. It's Gristlebrand and Batterskull. Okay. I think if you're Thomas, you may have been hoping it was Emrakul, but it also just depends on what his hand looks like. Looks like he has a copy of Council's Judgment in hand.
Yeah, Myers is going to get a bunch of rips at it to protect the Gristlebrand, but if he fails and the Council's Judgment resolves, Thomas just has a lethal attack.
Yeah. I guess that is interesting, isn't it? I also think his hand might just be kind of forced.
Well, you can't let Myers untap and take a hit. He peels 14, you might not get another turn.
Yeah. Well, I'm also saying on Myers' side, if Council Judgment's cast, I think he just has to draw 7 and hope.
Oh, he's down to nothing.
Yeah.
It's not, you let it resolve and then he hits you down to 6. Like,
Yeah.
what's your, you gotta make some effort to keep the Gristlebrand in play.
Wasteland. I like that start.
Yep, trying to cut Myers out of having something like Spell Pierce or Flush the Sword to play back. Really like this.
But he's going to float. Wants to go to the attack step.
Players in
Does
the
Thomas.
230 Modern Challenge. Your round 1 pairings have been posted on the
This puts Myers on basically drawing only 2 Force of Will.
Once again, players in the
Well, no, this is interesting, right? Because So Thomas wastelands. Meyer says float mana. Thomas says go to the attack step. Meyer says that's fine.
Yeah.
Then he won't attack.
Right. He gets to draw 7. So, yeah, I guess he gets a 7-card hand to try to do it again. Do whatever again
Correct.
next turn.
If you'd like to play in a $10
Because Thomas doesn't want to cast Council's Judgment into someone who floated mana.
Right.
Now, Myers is going to pay 7 to draw 7 cards and fall down to 4. And as you mentioned, this is his opportunity to rebuild, reassemble, and try to go again. And if he finds a Force of Will, okay. Take a look at Council's Judgment. This will exile Gristlebrand if it resolves. All right, so Council's Judgment will resolve. So now Joshua Myers has got to try to do it again. Does he have a sneak attack? Does he have a show and tell?
Although show and, depending on the details here, even show and tell might not be good enough. If you had to tap the Ancient Tomb and you show and tell in Emrakul, and Thomas has a threat card to put into play,
He could just die.
yeah, you just die to the attacks.
Yep. There's a City of Traders. This looks like this is going to be an attempt at sneak attack here.
Yeah, if it's sneak attack plus Emrakul, then Myers is in a really great position. Yeah, he gets everything.
There is sneak attack. He had to take 2 to cast. He's going to fall down to 2. There's your red mana. This is Emrakul. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 permanents exactly.
That's the perfects.
That's pretty darn good. And David Thomas is going to fall down to 3. So, Joshua Myers was able to reassemble. He'll sacrifice that Emrakul. He'll shuffle his graveyard, including an Emrakul, into the deck. And now all David Thomas can do is very quickly draw and pass the turn. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Joshua Myers is going to win game number 2 against David Thomas. So these players are all tied up. And I believe that our modern match is all tied up too. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Let you hear from our friends at Ultimate Guard, and then we'll bring you another match of this match. Well, we got to bring you a little Standard. We got to bring you a little Legacy. And now we're going to bring you a little Modern.
The sampler.
That's right. Going to try out a little something different this round, bring you a little bit of everything.
What would Las Vegas be without the buffet?
That's Brian Basoco and Dustin Lockinge, who we're going to watch now. It'll be Humans versus Mono Green Tron. You see these players, they are sideboarding, they're shuffling up, and these teams are huddled around each other as we're in round number 4 here in Las Vegas. Bringing you the buffet here in round 4.
Just checking here. Anything I got? Fetch Land, Cracked or Brainstorm. Myers did that, right?
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Okay, cool.
That's a cheap square. Kidding me. I could get you could get turn 3 Tron this round, maybe. That's in play.
Yep, for sure. Ancient Stirrings finds a land that produces 2+ mana.
Interesting. This team, again, David Thomas, Brian Basoco, and Jonathan Jobe, again, they did already win a team open earlier this year. They actually beat Team BCW in the finals. That's Tannen Grace, Brendan DeCandio, and Ross Merriam. Really tough loss for Tannen, but a great win by the team on the right when they did win that one earlier this year in Texas. Now they're looking to do it again. And you see the Legacy match and the Modern match are going to take place at the same time as these players are opening up and drawing their hands. But we're going to turn our attention towards Modern now. As Patrick mentioned, give you the sampler, the buffet.
The platter.
We're at Applebee's right now getting the sampler. A couple wings, a couple overcooked potato skins. Definitely some overcooked mozzarella sticks. The cheese is blown through the bottom. Which, that's an Applebee's staple.
A blowout.
Yeah. It'll be a Plains and a Ether file there for Brian Basoco. For Dustin Lockinge and Urza's Mine and Expedition map. I used to work at a pizza place when I was growing up. It's not hard to overcook a mozzarella stick. It's really, and those things explode in the fryer if you cook them too long. The cheese is just straight out, straight gone. Meddling Mage will be naming something here in just a moment for Brian. Maybe a jalapeno popper. Oblivion Stone is the name there for Brian. What's your favorite fried bar food?
I don't know. Mozzarella sticks do score pretty high.
Your marinara sauce?
No.
What do you dip them in?
Dry.
Oh, you are horrible. What?
Dry. They come out the burner the right way.
Oh my gosh. I was gonna assume you didn't dip them in ranch because I don't think you're a monster,
No.
but that's a lot, man.
Dry.
Another vial there for Brian.
Go ahead and click off the old turn 3 Tron here if you don't mind.
Well, you can, and I really hope he plays a forest. How about that? You're 1 square away. Player holds priority for the win?
Yeah, I need some champion of the parish Aether Vial tricks right now.
Get
over the line.
Yes. Thalia's Lieutenant, all that jazz? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. As Lockinge now does have Tron complete. Oblivion Stone has been nailed, though. But Brian looks like he's in some trouble. Not that aggressive of a start, though. Again, there is a vial on 2. He could slide something through there. I'm sliding towards the onion ring.
I like an onion ring a lot.
Dry as well.
Dry.
Yeah.
Bone dry.
We're going to go over to Dustin now. In the draw step, I think we're going to see a Kitesail freebooter. Yes, we will. Says, I want to take a Karn if I can, and really hope you don't have a walking ballista. Perhaps Lockinge will have a response.
Looks like he's thumbing around a spatial contortion in his hand.
There's that 1/2 Flying Human Pirate, one of the cards that really helped put this deck on the map upon its release. Good old Ixalan is the Kitesail freebooter. Dustin really unsure of himself right now if he wants to respond or not. Okay, he's going to let it resolve. So let's take a look at Dustin's hand. Spatial Contortion, Chromatic Sphere, World Breaker among those cards. See if they can fan those out for us a little bit, because there's also a Wormcoil Engine in there. Looks like there might be a Thrag Tusk over there.
I mean, I'm imagining, so it's just a bunch of creatures. I'm imagining that Basoco is going to take the Spatial Contortion out of his hand.
There's also a Tower and a Mine there. It does feel like a Spatial Contortion selection.
I mean, I guess there's an argument he doesn't have green mana, and you can do the star, but he's going to have so much mana to work with total.
Yep.
You can contortion your freebooter and then
get the sphere back.
I guess if he has a second freebooter, then I would consider taking this sphere here under the assumption that Lockinge is just tapping out for a Wormcoil.
It's kind of a tough choice, I suppose.
Like, it's really efficient from Lockinge's end to be able to keep the Chromatic Sphere because he gets a 7 mana this turn, play Wormcoil plus it, and then have access to green mana next turn for World Breaker or Thrag Tusk, depending. The other side is that Spatial Contortion is just a lot more powerful and eventually kills the freebooter or maybe something better down the line anyway.
So he's going to take the Spatial Contortion. There's the tower, obviously. So turn 3 Tron's good. And now there's Wormcoil Engine, and now there is the sphere. Okay. Vials are going up. 3-1 here for Brian. He's in some trouble, though. Ancient Ziggurat out the draw. Well, here's the thing. That third land means that he's probably going to be able to play almost every card in his hand.
Yep.
You know? So he's going to start things off with the Militia Bugler. Sound the horn. And looks like he may have found a copy of Night of Autumn.
Once again, players in the 1 p.m. Modern Challenge.
There's also a champion of the parish in there. He's also consulting his hand now because there's a Mantis Rider in hand. He will take Knight of Autumn.
Tyler Bailey, please report at side events registration.
Looks like Dustin wants to read Knight of Autumn. It does have a lot of text after all, so we'll take a look too.
The side events registration stage, your event is ready.
This one's a new one. Dryad Knight. 3-mana, 2/1. And there's the battlefield. You get to choose one of the three. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Knight of Autumn. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, or you gain 2 life. And it appears that on my bingo board, I have Knight of Autumn uses second or third mode.
Well, that's a really interesting one to have as a bingo space, since I'm assuming the first mode is the least frequently used.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
So it'd be one thing to just say Knight of Autumn is cast.
Yes.
And there'd be one thing to say, all right, well, it has to be cast but not using the naturalized mode, because that's very common. It needs to be cast but only using the 2 modes that you use 95% of the time.
It's good board design by Nick. That's what that is. It's guaranteeing me a square. It is an answer to that Worm Coil engine.
Maybe the sphere. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the Worm Coil being 2 3/3s or a 6/6 is not that different, and Lockinge having access to green mana next turn is really bad for Basoco. So
That's a very good point. Sphere down. Should Dustin Lockinge have cast that card? Who knows? It's dead now, though. No good attacks there for Brian outside of the one in the air, as Worm Coil Engine's holding down the fort right now. And there's another Urza's Land. What else has Dustin got over there to play?
I mean, we know the hand is Thragtusk,
World Breaker.
World Breaker, a land he played,
Yep.
whatever the draw step was.
Yep. Bang. Brian obviously going to take that. He's going to fall down to 14. Dustin's going to go up to 23. And he'll just pass the turn back. So, Vials. 3 and 2. Right where they like to be. Meddling Mage the draw. That's a pretty nice one, I think.
Yeah, particularly with the Vial. I mean, at this point, Basoco can just kind of do everything every turn. It's got so much mana to work, or functional mana to work with the Vials.
It'll be a Militia Bugler again. Trigger. Take a look at the top 4 cards. Noble Hierarch. Thalia's Lieutenant. Mantis Rider you cannot select. You can take Kitesail Freebooter. And Freebooter in combination with Meddling Mage is interesting. Or the plan could be, I just want to get you dead.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that Lockinge's hand is bad and isn't really even drawing to a singular card to make it okay, I think you want to take the Lieutenant, probably Meddling Mage Ugin, and just put it all out there. Yeah, just put it all out there.
Keep in mind, the Meddling Mage that's on the battlefield right now is naming Oblivion Stone, so that's off the table until it is removed, which Dustin Lockinge does play cards like Spatial Contortion. Patrick already mentioned Ugin. Ulamog is probably in the deck. Walking Ballista is always an option. So there are ways to get that off the battlefield.
And Stickney, please report to the open scorekeeper.
Of course, a lot of communication available here in these stream tournaments, and things kind of slow down once we hit this spot of a couple matches in Game 3, 1 match already accounted for.
And you see where the clock is, too. We're underneath a minute now, folks, because there's a Mantis Rider. This is going to be Athalia's Lieutenant. I think Brian missed a count. Yeah, I think he missed a counter on his Lieutenant by doing it this way. Let me think. No, because he's got a hard cast Mantis Rider. Never mind. Nope. He's not violently get it through. So let's see. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. That's an attack for 14.
Yeah, it's lethal next turn, regardless of Lockinge attacking with a Worm Coil or not.
What did Dustin draw? That look doesn't inspire much confidence.
Yep. I mean, we know a lot of green cards are straining in his hand right now.
Mm-hmm. Here comes Worm Coil Engine. Okay. Again, Brian has no interest in blocking, so he's going to fall down to 8, and Dustin's going to gain some life. Now, is this another Worm Coil? It is. Okay. So that probably changes a little bit here. And it looks like with an extension of the hand, that
Must have been David Thomas.
David Thomas got the job done. Would have been very curious to see how that game would have played out there, but I think Brian, actually, that second Worm Coil Engine was probably going to cause some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the race got close because he gets to attack that turn and also basically lock down the ground that turn.
Yeah.